What we're witnessing at the moment across parts of London and Essex is not simply protest, not simply outrage, and certainly not simply misunderstanding. It's the emergence of a coordinated political theatre playing out on Britain's streets, on social media, and increasingly inside the institutions of power. At its heart, a toxic mix of misinformation, populist agitation, and ministerial cowardice. Canary Wharf was once Margaret Thatcher's glittering testament to the capital's supremacy, a skyline built on deregulation and foreign investment. But today, its empty offices and shuttered luxury flats tell a different story. And now, add one more image, the four-star Britannia International Hotel surrounded by flags reading "Deport all illegals," protesters chanting, police helicopters overhead. What prompted this? Not policy, but a rumour, a lie. A claim that migrants were being bussed in from the Bell Hotel in Epping. The Home Office says this is false. No migrants have been moved into Canary Wharf site. But that didn't stop the mob, and it didn't stop Lee Anderson, the former deputy chair of the Conservative Party turned Reform UK enforcer, turning up to denounce an influx of illegals and demand answers. In truth, he gave his followers a location, a grievance, a licence. A protest followed. He says, "I hope they don't protest." Well, of course. Then a counter-protest, then the eggs, the shouts, the security cordon. Anderson says he's furious. I say he's calculating. It began in Epping at the Bell Hotel after a tragic allegation, a 14-year-old girl reportedly assaulted by an asylum seeker. The legal process must run its course, but the reaction has not been judicial. It's been incendiary. Over 1,000 people have demonstrated across several nights, 10 arrests, police vans damaged, staff and other officers injured, Reform UK MPs accusing police of bussing in counter-protesters, a claim now proven false, but deliberately amplified. Tommy Robinson posting videos claiming asylum seekers were being secretly moved to Canary Wharf. None were. And yet the falsehood has become a headline because people want it to be true, because rage needs a stage. Essex Police Chief Ben Julian Harrington has refused to resign, and rightly so. His force, he said, faced thugs and vandals, not simply protest, and we shouldn't confuse peaceful civic expression with what happened in Epping, a campaign of intimidation dressed up as outrage. If you're going to ban Palestine action, maybe you should start banning these protests. Why were beds delivered to an empty hotel? You've got to ask these questions. Why were beds delivered? Why did protesters arrive before any occupants? Why were former staff reportedly dismissed? Why are reform activists appearing at both scenes using the same slogans with camera crews ready? This is not spontaneous. It has the eerie choreography of a pre-written drama, just as the Metropolitan Police issue dispersal orders in Epping. Stand Up to Racism holds a Defend Refugees event in London. Online telegram groups circulate footage, locations and timings. Angela Rayner warned Cabinet this week of a society on edge, where immigration, poverty and digital misinformation threaten to rip up the fabric of Britain. She's right to worry, but we must go further. We're being led into a second summer of discontent, not by circumstances alone, but by deliberate provocation. But it's difficult to say who's doing the provocation, who's provoking whom. Let's not forget the backdrop to all this is a Labour government reeling from tax backlash, NHS waiting lists, housing shortages. It's easy to see why Canary Wharf, with its financial ghosts and high-profile postcode, was selected. The symbolism writes itself. Migrants in four-star hotels, locals on waiting lists, and Starmer apparently silent. But that's precisely why we must insist on truth. These hotels are not luxury resorts. They are the last resort accommodation. I don't know whether anybody's tried staying at a Novotel hotel. I used to call it Novichok. The £81 per night figure is a contractual cap, not a per-guest indulgence, yet the myth of £400 a night illegals spreads unchecked. Meanwhile, Farage and Anderson exploit the confusion. Send them home, they cry. I'm not shallow. They know full well that asylum is a legal right, that deportation requires due process, and that the UK still relies on international obligations, including the 1951 Refugee Convention, and more than that, the assumption that everybody's an illegal asylum seeker, an illegal migrant, is not true. Most of these people have never been processed. How do you know who's legal or who's not illegal until you've done the work? This is about an idle, lazy, good-for-nothing Home Office that hasn't worked competently since the days of Theresa May. Theresa May broke that ministry, and we are paying the price for her indulgence and their indolence. And what's the cost? In Epping, £100,000 in policing in 1 week, innocent people, migrant staff, officers injured, local communities split, mistrust growing. Every lie online hardens hearts offline. And for what? Reform UK is surging in the polls. Not because of policy coherence, but because it weaponizes emotion. Close the hotels! I'm not shallow, they say, but offer no credible alternative. Deport people, they say, but avoid explaining where. To where should you deport these people? Just rage, just blame, just noise. And meanwhile the Home Office continues to act opaquely. Tower Hamlets Council wasn't properly informed. Staff were blindsided. Hotel bookings were cancelled last minute, fueling anger and confusion. It's chaos masquerading as governance. So, here's a warning. The rhetoric being deployed, bring back hanging, deport all legals, I'm not shallow, is not merely performative, it's dangerous. It invites real violence. We've already seen it in Epping. We saw it last year. We may see it in Tower Hamlets. But the greater danger lies in complacency of Parliament. The police and public discourse allow these protests to be hijacked by far-right provocateurs and opportunistic MPs. Then the summer of 2025 may be remembered not for the heat waves, but for the hate. And we shouldn't allow that. We should insist on truth, on decency, on justice, and let's not be distracted by stage-managed outrage masquerading as democracy.